The air became thick with anticipation as the physicist, Dr. Emily Ramsey, stood before the assembled crowd. Her hair, as soon as an unruly mess, now tied returned in excessive ponytail, betrayed no hint of the turmoil inside. The press conference became to announce her groundbreaking discovery, the one that might exchange the path of human records. She adjusted the mic, taking a deep breath. Ladies and gentlemen, she commenced, her voice regular in spite of the butterflies in her stomach. I stand earlier than you these days to proportion with you the culmination of my exertions, the warp gate. A hush fell over the room because the crowd struggled to method her words. Warp gates, a long-held dream of science fiction, had been now a truth. The warp gate, Dr. Ramsey endured, is a tool that creates a strong wormhole, taking into account instant journey among remote points in area. No longer do we be sure by the constraints of our cutting-edge propulsion technologies. The galaxy is now within our draw close. As she spoke, snapshots flashed on the display screen behind her, depicting the warp gate in numerous ranges of improvement. The prototype, a huge, spinning ring of superconducting material, gave the impression of something out of a technological know-how fiction movie. But it worked, and Dr. Ramsey changed into confident that she ought to scale it down to a size small enough for practical use. The opportunities had been infinite: journey to distant stars, exploration of alien worlds, even the possibility of touch with superior civilizations. The crowd erupted into applause, drowning out the murmurs of disbelief and skepticism. Dr. Ramsey smiled, taking in the enthusiasm around her. But she knew that the street ahead could no longer be clean. The installed powers that profited from the status quo might not surrender their grip at the lucrative area tour market without a combat. She might need all her wits and determination to see her dream through. And as she stepped down from the podium, she vowed to herself that she could now not let some things stand inside the way of humanity's destiny. To explore, to discover, and to push the bounds of what changed into viable. As the Click conference got here to a near, newshounds swarmed round Dr. Ramsey, firing questions at her. One specially persistent journalist asked approximately the potential for Warp Gate era to fall into the wrong arms. Dr. Ramsey considered the question cautiously before responding. The development of this technology has been guided by means of the best ethical requirements. Is she confident them? And we've got taken each precaution to shield it from misuse. But I also consider that the advantages of warp gate generation outweigh the risks. It is my wish that humanity will use this energy responsibly, for the betterment of all worlds. As the journalists filed out, keen to get their stories out into the arena, Dr. Ramsey was escorted to a private room where she could meet with representatives of the interstellar network. The room became packed with ambassadors, scientists, and dignitaries from across the galaxy, all keen to learn greater about the warp gate and speak its implications for their worlds. Dr. Ramsey took a deep breath, steeling herself for the demanding situations that lay beforehand. But as she regarded out at the assembled crowd, she couldn't assist but feel an experience of awe and wonder on the amazing adventure that had delivered her here. Dr. Ramsey, started one of the ambassadors, a tall, regal-looking woman from a far-off global. Your discovery is not anything quick of innovative. We are all grateful in your courage and willpower in bringing it to mild. The ambassador paused, her eyes glinting with interest. And now, of course, we ought to talk the particulars of the way this era might be shared among us. It is our hope that you'll paintings carefully with the Interstellar Alliance to make certain that its miles used responsibly and for the betterment of all lifestyles inside the galaxy. Dr. Ramsey nodded, her expression serious. I understand the gravity of the scenario, she said. And I am committed to working collectively with you to broaden a framework for accountable usage of the warp gate technology. But I ought to also emphasize the importance of open collaboration and the loose alternate of ideas. It become via this spirit of cooperation that we have been capable of attain this leap forward within the first place, and I trust it's far the important thing to our persisted achievement. The room fell silent as the ambassadors and scientists considered her phrases. They knew that Dr. Ramsay become proper. The warp gate became a technology that would change the whole thing, for higher or for worse. The selections they made in the coming days would shape the destiny of the galaxy for generations to come. As the discussions endured, Dr. Ramsay determined herself, reflecting at the notable adventure that had introduced her so far, from her humble beginnings as a young lady interested in the celebrities, to her groundbreaking research on the college, and subsequently, to the second. She knew that the course in advance could be fraught with challenges, but she became determined to peer it through. For she became no longer just a scientist, or an inventor. She was a visionary, and the destiny of the galaxy rested in her arms. The debate raged on for hours, as representatives from every international put forward their very own proposals and issues. Some argued for strict regulation, at the same time as others called for an open-source method that could allow for the loose alternate of statistics. Dr. Ramsay listened intently to each perspective, her thoughts racing with ideas and counter-arguments. Finally, whilst it seemed that a consensus was within reach, she rose to deal with the organization over again. Colleagues, she started, her voice constant and confident, I actually have given this count number an incredible deal of notion, and I trust that the key to responsible usage of the warp gate technology lies not in law, nor in open supply, but in a delicate balance between the two. We need to create a framework that permits for collaboration and innovation, whilst making sure that the generation remains in the hands of individuals who recognize its implications and are devoted to the usage of it accurately. It is my wish that, collectively, we will forge this type of framework and bring in a new generation of peace and prosperity for the galaxy. The room fell silent as Dr. Ramsay's phrases hung inside the air. Each person there knew the load of her words, the gravity of their selection. As they commenced to discuss her inspiration, Dr. Ramsay could not assist, however, sense experience of awe and marvel at the strength that she now wielded. She knew that the destiny of limitless worlds rested on her shoulders, however she also knew that she was no longer on my own. Together, with the representatives of the Interstellar Alliance, she would shape the destiny of the galaxy. And as she appeared out at the assembled crowd, she felt a surge of desire and resolution, understanding that, collectively, they could acquire whatever. As the discussions persevered, Dr. Ramsay discovered herself thinking again to her early days on the college, reading the celebrities and dreaming of the day, whilst humanity would possibly in the end go away, its cradle and discover the vastness of area. She remembered the past due nights spent poring over texts and undertaking experiments, the long hours spent poring over equations and information. It became this dedication, this single-minded recognition, that had delivered her to this second. And it became this equal willpower that she now channeled into her paintings with the Interstellar Alliance. Finally, after hours of discussion and negotiation, they reached a consensus. The Warp Gate era would be made available to a pick organization of scientists and engineers, who would be tasked with growing it responsibly and making sure that it changed into used only for the betterment of all existence inside the galaxy. Dr. Ramsay changed into honor to be selected as one of the key members of this organization, and she or he knew that the paintings beforehand would no longer be easy. But she also knew that, with the support of her colleagues and the religion positioned in her, by means of the Interstellar Alliance, they might gain first-rate matters. As the assembly drew to a near, Dr. Ramsay found herself reflecting on the exceptional adventure that had delivered her to this point. From her humble beginnings as a pupil to her groundbreaking studies, and now, this moment. She knew that the course beforehand would stay fraught with challenges, however she also knew that she was prepared to stand them. For she became now not just a scientist, or an inventor. She was a leader, and the destiny of the galaxy rested in her fingers. And as she stepped out into the hallway, prepared to start the next phase of her journey, she did so with a renewed feel of motive and backbone, knowing that the destiny of the galaxy became in proper hands. The individuals of the Interstellar Alliance dispersed, every returning to their respective worlds to start the system of imposing the brand new recommendations. Dr. Ramsey, at the side of her crew, installation store on a faraway research station, in which they may attention on growing the warp gate technology without distractions. They labored tirelessly, poring over facts and engaging in experiments, refining their designs and developing protocols to ensure that the technology turned into used properly and responsibly. As months was years, the development changed into sluggish but constant. They faced setbacks and barriers, but they continued. They knew that the stakes had been excessive, and that any mistake may want to have dire effects. But they also knew that they were doing essential work, and that their efforts could shape the destiny of the galaxy for generations to come. Finally, after years of research and development, they were prepared to unveil their creation. Dr. Ramsey stood before the collected representatives of the Interstellar Alliance, her heart racing with anticipation and pleasure. She activated the warp gate, and with a flash of light, it came to life styles, a shimmering portal suspended within the air. The room erupted in applause as the representatives found out that their desires had subsequently come authentic. They had created a tool that might unite the celebrities, cease interstellar warfare, and bring about a brand new technology of peace and prosperity for all life inside the galaxy. As Dr. Ramsey basked within the glow of their fulfillment, she could not help however experience a feel of awe and surprise on the electricity they'd harnessed. She knew that the future was now within the arms of the Interstellar Alliance, and that they have to preserve the paintings collectively to make sure that the Warp Gate era became used responsibly and for the betterment of all. For in the long run, it was now not just about growing something new or groundbreaking. It changed into about using that introduction to construct a better the next day, a day after today filled with desire and possibility, for all of the worlds of the galaxy. As the representatives filed out of the room, each taking a moment to marvel on the warp gate, Dr. Ramsey observed herself pulled apart by using a familiar face. Admiral Soto, the leader of the Interstellar Alliance, had been a staunch supporter of her paintings from the beginning. Now, with the warp gate finally a truth, she could not help however feel a sense of gratitude and admiration for the man who had believed in her and her team, while others had doubted them. Dr. Ramsey, he said, his voice full of warmth and admire, you have finished something really high quality here. The Interstellar Alliance will in no way forget about what you've got executed nowadays. He paused, searching her in the attention, and continued, now, extra than ever, we must paintings collectively to make certain that this era is used accurately. The destiny of our galaxy rests in our hands. Dr. Ramsey nodded solemnly, her heart swelling with pleasure and determination. I apprehend the responsibility that incorporates this, Admiral. I will now not assist you to down. The leaders clasped hands, sealing their percent. As they parted approaches, Dr. Ramsey couldn't help but experience of overwhelming satisfaction. Not simplest had she finished her lifelong aim, but she had additionally found herself a part of something greater than herself. Something that had the electricity to change the course of records. And as she walked down the corridor, her shoulders squared and her step light, she knew that she was ready for whatever demanding situations lay ahead. For she was now not just a scientist, or a frontrunner. She turned into a mother or father of the galaxy, and the destiny of all existence inside it now rested in her capable palms.